Following on from the last video I did, which was installation and looking at a few different tyres, road tubeless tyres. This is the second ride now I'm having on these Schwalbe Pro One tubeless tyres, and these are the 2020 version, which is Souplesse, which essentially I think it means slimmer. So Schwalbe tubeless tyres have been known quite recently, the last few years, been a little bit wider than what their stated size is, and it's all to do with the ERTRO principles, but those are really outdated. So Schwalbe now are more in line with what their tyre sizes are. So these, let's say these are the Schwalbe Pro One Tubeless Ready tyres, and this is the second ride. The first ride was just sort of a gentle ride, mostly main roads. Today it has been lots of varied riding, wet, dry, and back roads, main roads, hills, really varied riding, and it's absolutely baking. As you can probably tell, I'm sweating pints. Initial impressions when I first put these on was how impressed I was with the comfort. So recently I've used Continental Grand Prix or GP 5000 Tubeless Ready. I used those for maybe 5,000 kilometers at the most, and then they were worn out. Performance wise for those, they were okay. No negatives really to say. Didn't have any punctures and rolled quite nicely. Then switched those. I've had Michelins on for a couple of weeks. First impressions I had of those was they were a little bit more uncomfortable, but yeah, no punctures I had with those. When I put these on, these Schwalbes, instantly there was a huge difference in comfort. They felt really soft and supple, which I really wasn't expecting. I mean, at the end of the day, these are 25mm tyres. It's not something you'd describe as comfortable. That, you know, I'm not going to go overboard and say, oh, it's like a magic carpet, because essentially this is a race bike. These are 25mm tyres, so we're not talking, you know, it's not equivalent to a 32mm or something. They're just more comfortable than the Michelins were. In terms of speed and rolling resistance, it's impossible to tell. All three seem fine, and you know, the lab tests you see are basically a load of bollocks. They can't replicate real world conditions, and I think ultimately the three tyres will be very, very similar. What I was a little bit surprised about was weight. Now, I've heard that the Continental GP 5000s, to make those lighter over the 4000, the previous ones, they removed some of the tread, basically made it a slightly thinner tyre, which would explain why it wore out in the distance it did. But they were the heaviest. They were about 300 grams. I'll put the exact weight up because I can't remember them all off the top of my head. They were the heaviest, and then the Michelins were about 280 grams a tyre, and these Schwalbes about 270. Also, installation, the link, I'll put up a link to that video installing them. They're from easiest to hardest. These Schwalbes were the easiest to install, but they were also the hardest. So they were easiest to install onto the rim, but they were the hardest to inflate. That said, they did go up with without having to get a compressor. Michelins were second, and the GP 5000s were hardest installed but easiest to inflate. So yeah, so it's a mixed bag. And then in terms of grip and performance on these tyres, I've been really impressed. They like I said, they feel quite soft, or they feel softer than, but they grip really nicely on a real variety of roads. So bumpy roads, rough roads, just a really nice tyre. I've been really impressed with them, and so I'm definitely going to keep these on. I am a little bit, you know, it's way too early to say about durability or punctures, because they're the lightest. I'm a little bit unsure about how long they'll last, but I'll do another video after I've done maybe 2,000 Ks on them, which will be maybe 3 months, and we'll see what they're like and see how they're holding up, see if they're any different then. But overall, so far, I'm really impressed.